Happy Aloha Friday. This is Cindy, your guest over at Ask Cindy Connector Live. Make sure that you go to Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and hit that follow button and go to YouTube over at Ask Cindy Connector Live. You're going to subscribe, comment, and if you share this very video, I will gift you a 5-night hotel stay. So we're talking Bali, Hawaii. We have so many destinations. I cover the hotel and you cover the tax. So a little bit about the show. Ask Cindy Connector Live is a way for me to connect you to my guests, all within my sphere of influence. It's so important to pay it forward as an entrepreneur. That's actually how we're going to grow in our business. And I have marketing tools over at Surf City Aloha Marketing. And I also have a Streamyard Podcast Mastery. So just in a minute, you're going to meet the amazing Margo. And so this month is National Celery Month. We're talking fiber, potassium, vitamin A and C. Make sure that you go to nationaldaycalendar.com. And if you'd like to learn how to be a National Day Calendar Celebration Ambassador, please message me over at Ask Cindy Connector Live. So I have my friend Margo. She's a podcaster, entrepreneur, and she is so amazing. I met her through our friend Deborah, and just absolutely phenomenal. We've connected like right out of the gate. And today we're covering life of a audio podcaster. So Margo, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, Cindy.
Thank you. So tell my audience first off your story.
My story is, if I must say, my story is kind of interesting. My sister and I live here in Southern California. My sister and I, we were sitting around the coffee table one day. It was a Saturday, I'll never forget. And she says, I'm going to Hollywood because I want to learn about terrestrial radio. She said, about working at a radio station. I said, girl, I've been thinking the same thing. So I asked her, I said, did you read that article? And she said, yeah, I read that article. And it was one article somebody written, and it was all about terrestrial radio and this merging into podcasting. It just piqued our attention. So long story short, we jump in the car, we go to Hollywood, and this school is teaching us about podcasting and DJing and all this good stuff. I'm falling, Cindy, I'm headlong in love with it. Sign me up right now, And Thomasine, she signed up also, but then she lasted a month. She says, this is not for me. I don't want to be on that 101 every Saturday and trying to get to Hollywood, but I did it. And I graduated and did a little terrestrial radio, but always something about that internet radio that just really, man, how does this work? This is so cool. So I came to the grandfather Live 365 before Live 365 when it first came out, and did a show over there, 24-hour producing and that type of thing. And it was a hobby. It was just a very strong hobby, music show. I'm loving it, meeting new people. But then, when you're doing this with your day job, you're in corporate America, it gets kind of hard to maintain. So I got to a place where I couldn't do it anymore. And I quit that good job of 26 years. I walked away and took a year and a half off to just kind of center myself again. And I came back and I thought, I'm going to podcast and I'm going to do it professionally. This time, I'm professional. So you know how it goes. You hire the best person that you can. And I got my confidence up and I'm all set. And he got my voice. And we decided upon her business, her voice, her conversation. And that was in 2017, Cindy. And I just been moving along. I'm a podcaster to heart. I'm not selling cars by day and shampoo at night. I'm all podcasting. So that's pretty much my story.
That's amazing. So I'm going to introduce you to Stephanie Massman. Have you met her yet?
No, I don't think so. Hi, Stephanie.
Yeah, I definitely will connect you via email and you guys can schedule a one-on-one and start that referral process.
Sounds good. You're connecting already.
Always. So let's talk all about your show and what topics you cover and what kind of guests are you looking for?
Oh, wow. Yes. I knew that when I came out of corporate, I wanted to know about my next. I wanted up under one umbrella, kind of go just one place and find out about this fear that I'm feeling. What did I do? I quit. What's next for me? Okay, I'm 61 years old. What does that look like? Who wants to hear me? How am I going to maintain my confidence? How am I going to move forward? I needed how to instruction, information, and inspiration. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I built that platform, her business, her voice, her conversation for the boomer women coming behind me or those that are beside me. And now we're reinventing to become podcasters and entrepreneurs. And that's pretty much what it's all about. We look at the inside work that has to happen when we are reinventing ourselves and those little secrets that you don't want anybody to know, but you have to address them so that you can keep moving forward. And then, of course, I bring on people who talk about building a business and building a podcast and what does that look like. And I always say, if my story doesn't touch you and I bring on somebody else, it's probably going to make a difference. That's why I do it. I bring on podcasters. Cindy, you're going to have to come on. I bring on
Yes.
podcasters because you know what? Our voices, they're more valuable than money, than dollars. And if we can ever harness that voice and that confidence within ourselves, and we get bodacious enough to get behind a mic anytime somebody lets us do so, we're going to be
Yeah.
powerful. As women, we have to do that. We have to do that, you know?
Well, let's talk about fear. I actually, out of high school, ended up going to modeling school because as a teenager, I was super shy. I know, hard to believe, but that's actually helped me overcome a lot. And here in a couple months, I'm going to be speaking in Las Vegas, my first ever in 7 years live event because I do my podcasting. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm pretty blessed to be a part of this event coming up. So, tell my audience about
Congratulations.
overcoming fear of speaking and overcoming fear of podcasting.
I found that if you had your voice at one time and you were comfortable and confident, and something happens, life happens, and you lose it, everything within you is just shaken to the core. Find somebody who, uh, find somebody who makes you feel comfortable, somebody that you trust, and they are invested in helping you get back to where you were and past that. They see inside of you, they feel you, they know you, they are fully invested in you getting where they know that you're supposed to be. That's exactly what I did. So you invest in yourself that way, and then you just consistently put yourself out there. Keep podcasting, keep speaking, keep telling people what you do, because it's like putting on lipstick. If you're not used to wearing makeup, and I don't have any on today, sorry about that, Cindy.
Oh, you're
But if
fine.
if we don't consistently do what we are supposed to do, or what's going to help us, then we're going to slump back to where we were, because that's comfortable and that's safe. But if we're moving forward, we're putting on our makeup, we're doing our affirmations, we are,
Mhm.
I'm Christian, praying, we are understanding who we are, that inside work, then the fear, it's going to have to get in the back seat. It's always going to be with us, but
Yes.
it's not going to hold us hostage and tamp us down the way it used to. That's what I found.
Yeah, and the best things in life are on the other side of fear.
Oh boy, aren't they? Aren't they?
So, what do you say? You want to go skydiving and surfing with me this summer?
Well, I don't know about surfing, but I'll go skydiving. Yeah.
Oh, have you been?
Yeah, I love it. I really,
Oh,
really love it. Well, okay, I'll take that back. Parasailing. I parasailed, and that
mhm.
was like, wow. I
Now
love
that
that.
freaks me out. The skydiving, when you go skydiving, 2 weeks after you go skydiving, I kid you not, you could do anything. You're just so bliss. And I mean, same thing with surfing. And I'm not
Mm,
a champion swimmer. I'm not the best swimmer, but I have an instructor that I go out with every year. And yeah, it's amazing just to, although I don't know really what I'm doing because I'm still new, but just, when I pop up and when I actually stand up, I actually did it for the first time last year.
oh wow.
And yeah, this will be my third lesson, but it's pretty amazing because it
Well,
actually helps you overcome a lot of stuff in your business when you're overcoming fear in your life. Tell my audience how you feel about that.
I had totally agree. You have to get out of the comfort zone. As you say, it's on the other side of comfort. It's on the other side of that wall. And you know what? You said something important. You said that you'd have an instructor. It gets back to investing in getting where you want to go. And if
Mhm.
you know you've done your work, your due diligence, you've put in the sweat equity, why be fearful? You have to ask yourself, I'm not going to let this hold me. I've invested in myself. I trust this person to get me where I'm going. Now it's
Mhm.
up to me to walk the rest of this out so that I can realize the fruit of my labor. And that's how I move along, you know?
Wow. Well, I want to get into audio. So when I do my StreamYard, I have video and I have audio. So I'm going to start putting it on audio because a lot of my mentors have been saying, "Wow, your show is great, but you need to get on audio for more exposure." So tell my audience how that works, and what recommendations do you have for the platforms for audio podcasting?
Oh boy, good sound quality. And somebody just turned, can I give a brand name? I'm not an affiliate or anything.
Oh yeah, go ahead for sure.
For audio, and they do audio and video, but someone just turned me on to riverside.fm. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
goodness. You're talking about clarity, uh, audio and video, user friendly. And because that's what people want. People want good, crisp audio. And I find I exercise my voice. I get real animated. I try to over animate, as a matter of fact, because I don't want to come off like a talking head or anything like that. So, yeah, really with the clarity and laughing and voice inflection and being in the moment and bringing all of your energy. Energy has a way of coming through the mic and through everything. And people, when they're listening, they know when, man, they passionate about that. Oh,
Mhm.
she knows what she's talking about, and all of that. So spare no expense with a good mic and that Riverside. I am impressed, really. The grandfather, and I call him the grandfather of podcasting, Evo Terra. He's a part of Riverside FM. I think
Wow.
he's a sponsor. They sponsor his show or something like that. But I noticed that he speaks of them, and now I understand why. It's a top-notch product. It really is. There are a lot of them out there, but that one, woo, I love them. Really.
Well, that's awesome. So let's talk about your audio podcast mastery.
Audio podcast mastery. What I like to teach, and that's the teaching part of it, correct?
Hmm.
I believe that I can only teach, and I know that I only teach the way I learned. And when I was taught to build out my podcast, they started with the theory. First, they want to make sure I understood what a podcast is, how it works, what it does, what it can do, what it can't do, that whole process. And then they took me through the mechanics. What do you have to do so that you put the gas in this thing as you're building it out? And then the technology, the mic, the earbuds, all of that stuff. That when you put that whole picture together, you should be able to have one podcast that doesn't need a whole lot of tweaking if you're on a major network or if you're an indie podcaster. Build it once the first time, let it fly. And that's the way I teach it. That's exactly the way I teach. We get into video because now there's StreamYard, and
Hmm.
people podcast on different levels on different platforms. So I don't want to assume that everybody's just for the audio because I am, but we touch on a little bit of all of it, heavy on the audio, the equipment, the affiliates that I believe in, the mic, even just starting out. What does that look like? What does that take? And the main thing, it starts with your why, and you build out from there. So 7 weeks, I believe that to really have a good, solid podcast where you know what's going on. Anybody ask you about that podcast, and if you're dead sleep, you're going to be able to answer the question that they're asking you about your podcast. It's going to take some time because you need to be sure of your clarity and the ins and the outs. So I say 7 weeks, you should be up and running. That's the way I learned. And it works for me. And so far, so good. I've graduated students. So I've graduated podcasters, you know?
So can you talk about some of the platforms? So Anchor is one of them. Can you mention some other ones that are good for audio? Because I could upload that from Streamyard for audio.
Yes. Audio. Well, you know what? Captivate.fm. That a young gentleman from, I think he's from the UK, Mark Asquith, he put together a podcast host, and it is pretty progressive. And I like it because it's easy to work with. Once you get in there, anything has a learning curve. But once you get in there and you say, this is my podcast host, you work with the customer service people, you become familiar with what's working over there. It's valuable. And Mark is a podcaster, and it was built by a podcaster. So I like Captivate.fm. And you know, there's always Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has a lot of videos out and good customer service, and it's just huge, but it's user friendly. I guess I'm always looking for user friendly stuff. And if I get stuck, how long is it going to take me to reach somebody, or how am I going to get the information that I need? And I work with both of these. I've tuned on and put a couple episodes up so that I know how it works, and they're pretty user friendly. So that's what I always recommend, those two. And indeed, of course, there are tons others, Podbean and Blog Talk Radio. I guess there are a couple people.
Oh, that's
that I know.
old school. I was on Blog Talk Radio. Someone interviewed me. Oh my God, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. That is still around. Wow.
Yeah. I know somebody you can't yank her off of Blog Talk. She started there, and that's where she's gonna stay. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I like to do in my show, but I want to do it separate from today. And normally I do it all in one episode, but I think it'll be easy to do it separate. We'll pick a day here in the next week or two, and each of us can do a testimony on each other. Because for Google My Business, if you have a 30-second video, you could actually upload it to that. And then, so when you do the video, I'll put it on TikTok, Facebook, Google My Business, Instagram. I'll plug you to the masses for sure. So also this part of the show is shout outs. Who would you like to shout out to today?
Oh my goodness. I'd like to shout out to the leading women's magazine, WOM Lead. They are gracious. I've watched them grow. They are celebrating women all the month of March. And this issue that's coming out, I think she said it's going to be something like 80 pages. And we're not talking about a little flyer. I wish I had a copy of the magazine here, but great, awesome people, totally invested in women. And of course, Deb Thorne, the information diva.
Woo-hoo!
Oh yeah,
I wish I had my mug here. It's in my kitchen. I love my little mug.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those two folks come to mind. And Yvonne DeVita from upstate New York. You're talking about a publishing guru and a woman who loves poetry and blogs and books. And she's just an excellent person to meet if you want to become an author. So those three folks come to mind right away. I don't know. They just do.
So let's talk about some tips. So we have a few minutes left on the show. So in closing, give a couple tips again, and let's kind of do a recap of what we talked about today on overcoming fears, starting your audio podcasts.
Overcoming fear comes from just doing it. If you are with someone, and I keep saying someone who's invested in your outcome, your best outcome, find them, stay with them. I don't care if it's year in, year out, but move past that fear so that you can keep podcasting, or you can maintain your business. Whatever element of fear you have to sidestep. I'm sure that you run into that with the travel agents, in the travel business. Every industry brings a measure of fear, but get with someone who can help you move past it, and then you own that and move past it. Tip for podcasting, just get started. Build that firm foundation so that it's not going to fail you, and just be consistent. Be
Yeah, and
consistent.
don't be afraid of mistakes. I mean, a
That's
lot of
right.
times you had to do the first 50 or 75 videos before you get it right. Just
Hey,
keep on plugging away.
if you cough, okay. If the phone rings, okay. Don't try to do all that heavy editing and all that stuff. You're just going to frustrate yourself, and you're going to remove the authenticity of you, and your guest.
I edit all the time if I have to.
Well, hey, I never really got into the heavy editing. I just I just say, hey, this is podcasting my way. I coughed. Okay. Oh, I had to clear my throat. Sorry. And I keep on moving. I guess by now they know that's how she rolls. Okay. She's going to keep going. you know.
So do a shout out of all your social media sites, including your YouTube and your podcast class.
Okay. I am Margo Lovett, and there's the spelling there on the banner. And you'll find my website, www.margolovett.com. That's where you'll also find podcastacademyonline.com. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook, not on TikTok. I usually just hang out where my listeners hang out, because that takes up all the time,
Exactly.
That's it. But everything's Margo Lovett. It's going to come up for you. There are not too many of us around.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to be sharing the YouTube video either over the weekend or Monday, and we could repurpose that. Any last minute tip before we close out?
When somebody like Cindy Lee reaches out to you and gives you an opportunity to share space and time and be yourself, take that. Because connections are everything, relationships are everything, and people don't have to invite you to be on their show. They really don't. Everybody says all podcasters need content. Yeah, we do. But when someone invites you to share space with them and they are going to present you to their audience, be ready, take it serious, and come with your best, because it's an honor. It really, really is.
Well, it's been an honor spending the last 20 minutes with you. So thank you so much. And I'm going to put you in the green room and just hang tight for about half a minute, and then we'll chat for a few.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Cindy.
you. Wow. Would you like to be an audio podcaster? Make sure that you go to this YouTube video. We will have the links here later on this afternoon, so you can connect with both of us. If you want to learn about audio podcasting, definitely connect with Margo. And next on the show, I have my friend Marilyn at 2:00 Pacific PST. And we're talking about the woman's business networking. We'll see you just on the other side, and go out and make a difference today.